My Daemon. The first part of this video will be spoiler free. I'll warn you when we get to spoilers. There is no better feeling than picking a random thing to watch and it turning out to be an amazing experience. I like to pick random things that look interesting. That's how I ended up watching the show, and I can't believe how good it was. I went in with zero expectations. The trailer that played looked weird, but I watched the first episode and knew this was going to be a really good show. Everything about this show is great. The music, the animation, the story, the beautiful backgrounds and landscapes, the action, the emotional scenes, they all hit. I'm not overhyping this show. It is actually a really good show. I'm surprised I never heard of it before. It came out last year and I heard nothing about it. I want to at least go over the first episode to show how it hooked me and to give the plot synopsis at the same time. Episode 1 is phenomenal. It starts with Kento doing a presentation in class about how he raised his Daemon named Anna. It's called Anna because that's the sound it makes. Daemons are basically Pokemon. They just say their name when they make sounds. This is the only nitpick I have of this episode. Kento just has Anna out in the open a lot, in a place where pretty much everyone hates Daemons. You're encouraged to kill them if you see one, so him showing her off in the world like this is pretty stupid of him. You could say he's just a kid, so he doesn't fully understand what he's doing. That's how I interpreted it. It still annoyed me, but it's a small criticism in an overall great episode. I guess I should talk about the world a little bit more. The Daemons are a part of the world, and for the most part, most of them seem to be harmless, but there are definitely some dangerous ones. Like if I was in this world, I'm also not sure how I would feel about Daemons. Like I could definitely see like normal people's arguments on like not trusting Daemons because they're just weird looking things. So yeah, I guess I'd probably also be skeptical of being nice to them, I guess. Kento grew Anna up from its birth basically, and it's a dog looking Daemon with eyes all around its body. We get the backstory of the show from the news. There are nuclear tests that spread Daemon particles around the world, and that's how they came to be. It's an easy way to speedrun the backstory. There was a bomb, and now there's these weird mutated creatures everywhere. That's all we needed to know to move on with the actual story. 3 months later, Kento is playing with Anna and sees Daemon users. As the name implies, Daemon users are people that can use Daemons to do stuff. In this case, Daemons are mainly just used to attack and kill other Daemons. Again, they are actually just alien looking Pokemon. They use shot callers to control them. Kento, being a Daemon lover, obviously doesn't like that. The Daemon users accidentally kills his Daemon and leaves it dead on the ground, allowing Kento to come and take the broken collar and put it on Anna, so people won't mistake her for a wild Daemon. That was smart on his part. This next scene is super important. Kento talks about a rumor of a Daemon in Kyushu with the power to rewind time. This is where we also get Anna showing off her ability for the first time. Anna has the ability to suck stuff up into a pocket dimension and spit them out. I love that after finding this out, Kento does the smart thing and starts experimenting what Anna can and can't do. I'll just refer to her power as eating. Anna can eat small to medium-sized things. It can't eat large or living things. If a show has a protagonist that gets powers, it's always a good idea to at least show a small scene of them practicing their power and trying to figure out what their limits are. Just a small scene of showing that is always nice to see. Later, we also learn that while in Anna's pocket dimension, time doesn't exist in that dimension, I guess, so anything that's put in there doesn't age. Kento puts some hot food from 3 weeks ago in the dimension, and it was still hot when it came out. That is an interesting layer to add on to the powers. Also, I guess Anna can choose what to spit out. The nun comes to the door and tells the mom to dispose of Anna and reveals that Kento is infected by the Daemon particles. He will eventually die when it grows in him. The nun calls the peace organization to get them to get rid of Anna. The president of the organization cuts off the operator and puts a bounty on Anna for 100 million yen to kill it or capture it alive. The next day, we see a bounty hunter with his Daemon named Casper that can go invisible and make anything it touches also invisible. This is when the show really hooks me. The bounty hunter turns a truck invisible to try and run over Kento and Anna. Anna has fast reflexes and saves them both. They escape. Skipping ahead a little, the nun runs into the bounty hunter and he does something really creative. I'm not sure if he kills her or just scares her. He turns her clothes invisible. Then he turns her skin invisible, and we see the muscles and skeleton inside her body. I never thought of someone doing this with that kind of power. It's a really creative, quick scene. Another really creative scene is when the bounty hunter is looking for Kento. He makes Casper turn the whole city block invisible, except for the people to see through it. That's how he spots Kento. This was a really cool, creative scene. He spots Kento and keeps the building invisible long enough to make Kento run into a dead end. Now we get their fight, and it's really good. I like the choreography of this scene, and spitting stuff out from earlier to protect themselves. The camera movements when the bounty hunter is throwing daggers at them was cool. How the fight ends with Anna eating his knife and spitting it back at him was great. Kento's mom finds him. The fight's not over though, because the guy isn't actually dead and throws one more dagger at Kento. His mom protects him, but she dies in the process. This last part is what sold me on the show. All the pieces come together perfectly in this last scene. Kento comes up with the idea to store his mom's body inside Anna so they can go find the Daemon that can reverse time to bring her back to life. This is awesome because now that she's died, she can be eaten by Anna. That sounded bad, but you know what I meant. Anna stops time inside her pocket dimension so his mom's body won't decompose. The show hinted at the rewind time Daemon earlier, and all this setup was great. Now Kento is on a journey to find the rewind Daemon and get his mom back. I had to go over this episode because it was such a solid start. I didn't know what to expect from the show, and it just gets better from here. Kento and Anna are a nice duo. The creative ways the show uses their abilities are fun to watch. I didn't know what the plot was going to be. Having his mom die so he has to go on a journey to revive her is a good story. I also didn't know the show was going to be this brutal. It's like Hunter x Hunter. Most of the time it's a fun show, then the next moment people are dying in horrible ways. I don't think I have much to say about the animation. I love it. To me, it's one of the better looking 3D animes. Please don't let that stop you from watching it if that's a problem for you. I promise it's an amazing story. And all the landscapes and scenery are beautiful. I don't know how it's done. It looks like a painting, but it blends in the world perfectly. I can't stress enough how beautiful some of the scenes are. Okay, the spoiler free is over. It's time to get into the good stuff. This is the last warning. Please go watch this show if you haven't seen it. And let's get into it. I don't know where to begin. First, screw the author for making Anna a dog-looking thing. Dogs are most people's weakness, so whenever Anna got hurt, it was painful to watch. Kento and Anna as characters were a good duo. All this kid wanted to do was get his mom back, but everyone is trying to take Anna away from him. The first Daemon user he runs into, Uraga, was so tragic. Uraga was a cool dude with a balloon Daemon, but he needed the money to save his brother, and he dies. I was torn because he wasn't a bad guy, but he turned to the dark side. I thought after fighting for a bit he would see the error of his ways, but no, he dies. It was even sad that the balloon Daemon liked him, but he didn't really care for it. I also like all the different Daemons in the world. You can tell what animal they take from. Although some of them are just weird mutated monsters, like whatever Iggy is that Kaide uses. I don't know what or if it's supposed to look like an animal. Speaking of Iggy, Kaide and Iggy were also a good duo. Iggy being the shield Daemon was always helpful. It might be weird, but the way Iggy says his name is pretty funny to me every time. I don't know why. It's just the way he says it. And when they fought that really creepy Daemon Senju, with the way he moved and just quietly saying kill, 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 kill over and over is terrifying. It was like a tree stick Daemon with multiple arms that held weapons in each one, and it could regenerate. That fight was cool. They had Iggy blocking his attacks and eating its weapons, and Kaide shooting arrows at it. It was a nice ending with Kento being able to communicate with it. It hates humans because it was abused by its previous owner. Kaide still had to put it down, but in the end it's hinted it's not fully dead, which is nice, I guess. It was killing people, so I'm not sure about that. I could talk about this show for hours, but I should get to my thoughts on major events. Anna awakening and being able to just eat anything without restrictions is awesome. And we get the reason why the chairman wanted Anna killed or captured, because she has the ability to eat entire islands and maybe more. Koko Noe was a cool, complex character. He was just following orders, but he feels bad for Kento. Him fighting Anna by himself with no Daemon was really cool. The gloves he had were pretty cool weapons. I was surprised at how long he lasted in the fight with Anna. Oh, and Anna talking with the chairman, and he said she'd only bring misery to Kento, so she decides to leave Kento. That was a heartbreaking scene, and after that, Kento having to live with Kokonoe and daring him to us was a good idea. Ando, having the door fruit basically, was cool. She's just in it for the money, but can't bring herself to capture Anna after being saved by Kento. Her use of the ability was cool to see. I wish we had more of scenes with her. Also, again, during that train sequence, we get that beautiful underwater scene, which is, the landscapes and scenery in the background look great. The final section of the story with the Rewind Daemon is peak. It wants to kill all humans because we can't coexist with them. He sees us killing Daemons and wants his own place to live where Daemons can live peacefully. That's a motivation that makes complete sense, and the fact that he takes over a human body was a cool touch. When the Rewind Daemon was talked about, it never came to mind there could be like a human Daemon. I almost got through the whole thing without saying demon. Oh well. Yes, it just takes the form of a human, but it's still a cool reveal. I like that it was trying to get Kento to cooperate with it at first, rather than forcing him to do what it wanted. It wants to bring back basically the king of all Daemons that took nukes to kill before. It was stuck behind a barrier that he couldn't get through, and he needed Anna to eat the barrier. The Rewind Daemon taking Kento's mother's form to try and manipulate him was great. It ruthlessly kills people, and used Kaide to make a deal was smart. He can stop her from bleeding out if Kento goes with his plan. That's a smart play. And it putting a shock collar on Kento, accelerating his Daemon particle, was an insane scene. I thought his head exploded. I couldn't quite tell what happened. I assume he at least had a hole in his head, but they censored it because we don't really need to see a kid with a hole in his head. Although they did show a kid that was run over by a car get reanimated in a pretty dark scene. But this is a genius play. The Rewind Daemon brings Kento back to life, or maybe he wasn't fully dead yet. But yeah, he does save Kento after Anna did her thing to open up the Daemon particle king thing. It did that, I assume, because it wanted Anna to calm down again, but also I don't think he wanted to kill Kento at that moment. Now, the ending was perfect. It's a bittersweet ending. I could see some people not liking that there isn't a really big last fight with all the characters attacking the King Daemon. I'm fine with this because the way it actually ends makes sense. Before I get to that, I liked the bridge scene. We got all the previous Daemons that we met helping people. I knew from the beginning the invisible Daemon would come back at some point. Having an invisible character would be a waste if you didn't play around with it being somewhere in the background of a scene. I do wish that it was in every episode in the background somewhere following Kento, because he saved it in episode 1. That would have been a cool Easter egg, but I'm fine with what we got. Now, how do we solve the King Daemon problem? We had Anna being chased this whole show because she can eat an entire island. Now's the time that comes into play. With the military shooting nukes at it, and it charging a nuke of its own, the only way to save everyone was for Anna to finally eat the whole area with everyone in it. The Anna evolution looks even more like a Pokemon. We finally get to see Anna's pocket dimension. I'm not too sure what the stuff with Kento and his mom was. I assume that was a hallucination from Kento. It was a sad scene, but more sad scenes are coming. In the pocket dimension, the Rewind Daemon can't hurt Anna, and she lets the nukes hit him. Kento promises to make a world where Daemons and humans can coexist. That was a good conclusion to the Rewind Daemon. All it really wanted was for that to happen, but it couldn't see a path towards it, so it chose a darker path. It's up to Kento to continue his will and make the world a better place for everyone. The Rewind Daemon was a great final boss. It even genuinely tried to bring Kento's mother back, even though it also didn't know if his power could bring her back. This last part hurt me. Anna sending everyone back and staying in the pocket dimension was so sad. It had to end this way, unfortunately. Who knows if they would have left her alone with Kento. It was a heartbreaking scene. And another heartbreaking scene was that his mom actually stayed dead. I did not see this coming. It seemed like the show was hinting that the rewind worked, but it actually didn't. I thought, well, since Anna is gone, that means his mother is definitely alive now. Nope. Kento loses everything he loved. He at least has the Daemon that popped out of his head that I'm still not sure what its power was. It looked like telepathy, maybe. The sweet part of the ending is that Kento does what he said he would do. He works with a peace organization to help make Daemons and humans work together. Now it's really like Pokemon because Daemons are helping to do things like rebuild stuff, and the future looks good for everyone. The show had to stab us one last time by making it sound like Anna came back to him at the very end, but the show doesn't show her, so I guess it's up to headcanon on if she actually came back or not. For my sake, I say yes, she came back. This show was so good, highly underrated. I'm sad I never heard about it. It took me looking for random things to watch to find it. I had to make a video praising it in hopes that more people would watch it. The show probably made it to my top 10 favorite anime of all time. I'd have to think about that more. I give it a 10 out of 10. It's only 13 episodes and every episode was great. I got no complaints and I missed it already.